Hello and welcome to Drunk Talk, the Lord of the Rings podcast book club for people who like Lord of the Rings and beer. And actually I'm going to stop slagging book clubs because this is great crack now. So yeah, I'm your host Ross and joined by the lads. How are you lads?
Great. You good?
Good man.
Yes, good man lads. I think I might have to explain what good man lads means on this podcast. But let me just go around one by one and introduce some of the usual suspects. I'm joined here as the order I see them, my little brother Oisín. Oisín, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks Ross. How are you?
Yeah, tops. Actually, delighted to do one of my favourite chapters here today. It's probably,
One
the
of
best
your
chapter I
favourite
read
chapters?
since... Well, it's the best chapter I read since I read the last one.
Good read, you'd say.
It's good read, yeah,
Okay.
very good read.
Good read.
And Oisín, what are you drinking?
Tonight's tipple is the rest of the pack of Moretti that I bought last week.
Very economical, which
the
are
student
booze.
living. I'm fortunate that's going to be a theme throughout the podcast, I'm sure, is that I'm not too flash on the beers, but I'll get something different for next week again.
I have a bone to pick with Oisín over that because he must have influenced me into buying Moretti, and I'm just not impressed. It reminds me of drinking Budweiser. You know, your parents' Bud.
Shite, is it?
It's not great.
Oh no. Well, Bull, listen. Yeah, obviously you're on the podcast too. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
I have a Guinness because the Moretti wasn't as nice, and I think this episode will remind a lot of readers about Guinness. There's a lot of mentions to stout in this chapter. So
There are a few, but I think we should get out there that Guinness isn't the only stout. And then, and a lot of people say it might not necessarily be the best stout. It's probably just the most famous. I know, a couple of Murphy's drinkers in my family and this kind of thing, and they'd swear by it. And Beamish, not bad, the common man's drink, you'd say. Because it's cheap as fuck.
drink
And,
is kind of like toilet paper. It does a job. I'll use any toilet paper. I'll drink.
Would you? Now, would you? Would
No,
you
it
literally
has
just
to
go
be
in and
3
pick up
ply.
a-
3 ply or nothing.
Yeah, boys, if they sold 10 ply, I'd buy it.
Oh, absolutely.
The more ply, the better.
I mean, technically, you can make 10 ply. You just gotta fold it up.
I have toilet paper there with like coconut essence on it and everything. You'd be arse would smell delicious.
And I'm middle class.
Well, I hear our third guest there, the other usual suspect, we say it's Owen Duffy. How are you, General?
Good.
Good stuff. Did you do your homework?
Did my homework, yeah. Chapter, a good read, as we said. Good read.
Good read. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Old Speckled Hen.
What the fuck is that?
I'm just going through all the ales that I can find. It's an English pale ale. It's not
English?
I'm not really enjoying it. It's not great. It says it's smooth and refreshing, and that's just a barefaced lie.
Is this the one that you have to pull warm out of the cellar? And you have to crank
There it
the
is,
fucking
there,
lever in a
A
pub?
warm ale.
Have you
Well,
ever
it's not
seen the
warm.
pubs in the UK where you crank
What's
the
warm?
you crank it I don't know, what would you describe it as?
Like Soldier Boy?
Yeah, I know what
Oh,
you mean,
yeah, they're like pumping
That's
it
they're
nearly
all
into
over the
And it
UK.
comes up all
John
warm.
Smith's ale and all that, the old school stuff.
Yuck.
It's like a big wooden pump.
Alright, you're not doing the Soldier Boy crank up.
No, not quite.
Well, if anyone was to ask me, and I notice they're not. Unbelievable, carry on. I'm drinking a Peroni, the old Italian beer. Don't know
The
if you ever
Italians are
had it.
getting a...
Yeah, and I wouldn't be big into the beer of Moretti, much like you, Bull. It's not my favourite kind of Italian beer, but the Peroni is quite cheap, which, as you lads and our regular listeners will know, is first thing I look for is price.
Crucial.
First thing, I walk in and I say, point me to your cheapest drinks. Is it cheaper if they're warm? And then, go from there, kind of. But Peroni, yeah, it's not bad. It comes in a glass instead of a tin. Which, I think if they brought tins of it, I'd probably go for that instead.
Would you have a tin over a bottle? I'd always pick a bottle over a tin.
I would.
It's about the price for me.
I'm not sure which has the worst environmental impact.
You tell me, Oisín, you're the student.
I don't know.
They're both recyclable.
Yeah, they both are, but definitely they would have different. One would be easier to recycle, I guess, than another.
Well, sure, listen, if Oisín had his way, we'd be fermenting apples in our back gardens and drinking them. Like, if you want to get down into it, you don't want to be importing anything, I suppose.
Moonshine.
This is it, lads,
Poaching.
absolutely. So we are here today, gathered before us now to discuss the old chapter, Shortcut to Mushrooms, which I think, you know, if you were to look at the movies, it's not really in the movie, is it? It's more mentioned in the movie, and then they change it a little bit, would you say? Like, there's not a lot of this chapter that really made the cut, is there?
No.
No.
Quite clever, actually, how they did it in the film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, tell me more about it. Oh, wait. Before we go further, 20-second summary. Now, who wants to do it? And we're not letting Bull do it because he took 4 minutes last time.
I'll do it if you want.
Right, General, go on.
Right. So Frodo, Sam, and Pippin, they leave the Elves. They're making their way to Huckleberry Ferry to cross the Brandywine. They're trying to get over to Frodo's new gaff. They're still being pursued by the Black Rider. They run into Farmer Maggot, and he gives them a spin down to the ferry port. And that's that chapter.
They're running to Mary, do they?
Yeah, right at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nice and sweet. See that, Bull? Can be done.
Yep. That's short enough, Ian.
That's it.
All right. Jesus Christ. So a bit of housekeeping, I think, lads, before we actually get stuck into the chapter and the proper kind of literary review. And we've got some feedback there from some of our listeners, and you know, as we would like to explain, you know, reach out to us, whether it be on the email, on the old social channels, on the Patreon, and Tolk. We do read everything that we get, and a lot of our regular listeners are once again, letting us know that we don't know what we're talking about, which is true, and that our Lord of the Rings knowledge is shite, which is also true. And also, we haven't really been spending a lot of time talking about Lord of the Rings. So, I don't know about you lads, did you think we should maybe try our best to speak about Lord of the Rings more? The listeners seem to think we should.
I don't know, I mean, my opinion is to come on and have the crack with the lads. And, you know, the Lord of the Rings is just like what would you say? It's a map. And
A vehicle.
Yeah, a vehicle.
Yeah, vehicle.
To get to...
Oh, Ross English good.
Oh.
The shy talk is priority number one for me, anyway.
And fuck them, at the end of the day, they are listening. So, you know, what do they know?
Yep.
True.
I mean, if you really want to know the facts, you can Google this shit. I mean, we're not pretending to be the know-it-alls on it. We're just
we are not
enjoying
the
the journey.
Yeah. I think we've mentioned it a couple of times. This is just mainly our opinion of the events that are happening in
It's
the
just
book.
your opinion.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. We're just having a bit of crack with that.
Good, alright, good. I think we're all in agreement. What do you think there, little brother?
Yeah, that seems about my idea of it, and just throwing in a bit of the movies in as well, and whatever else pops into my head along the
Oh,
way.
eloquently put. And before I go on, I've said it a few times. Maybe Owen, do you want to explain what good man lads means? Where did we get good man lads? Why
Good
do we
man,
say
lads. So my eldest brother used to work in this factory, and there was just this guy. He was fairly simple man, and he used to just come in every day, and there'd be a group of lads sitting in the corner or having breakfast or whatever, and he'd come in and say, "Good man, lads." Now, to me, it makes perfect sense, because he's saying, it's like he's individually saying "good man," but to everyone in the room. So
Yeah, economical.
That's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much where it came from.
I remember when we were young and your brother told us that story. I'd say we were maybe 12, 13 years old. And we thought this is the funniest thing ever, as if he's incredibly country. Like, we're making fun of him being super country. And then we started saying it ironically. But now I just say it unironically all the time. And I just wonder how many dozens and dozens of people across my lifetime like tell that story about me, except I'm the old man in the factory. Oh, there's this fella called Ross and he says good man, lads. But yeah, just in case any of our...
Simple old soul.
I am a simple old soul. Absolutely.
Is it bad that I just thought it was a normal thing to say and didn't even question it? Does that make me simple?
Yeah. Good man, lads. I love it.
This works.
Just, yeah, it does. It works. That's
It works.
exactly
It does. It does. Or maybe we've just said it so much now that we think it works. Well, listen, that's neither here nor there. So, lads, the chapter starts up and running with the boys waking up. Do you think that the elves actually drugged the hobbits?
I think hobbits are just lightweights on elf juice. elf juice is a bit stronger than what they'd be drinking in the Shire, so they just weren't used to it.
Pippin was already falling asleep before he even met the elves. I think he was going to go down, no bother. And then, as you find out later in the chapter, or in the book, Sam wasn't even fucking sleeping. The sneaky hobbit. He is a sneaky fat hobbit.
Or is he a dog?
And then Frodo didn't want to sleep. He was chatting away. I mean, I think the elves drugged them later.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I agree.
Go on,
Yeah,
go
they-
on.
They woke up and they left them like loads of bread and loads of juice, and it was like a honey clear. It tastes like honey and all this smell like all lovely flowers, but it was basically acid in a drink, I think, because at some point he says that, and this is what I didn't understand. They were snapping their fingers at the Black Riders. Like, what does that mean? Like, I went to a hipster pub in Dublin when I lived there for a good few times. Happened across a spoken word poetry session. And people wouldn't clap.
Oh, my nightmare. Oh, that's the most Dublin
it was
thing
an
I've ever heard in
experience.
my life.
But nobody would clap when they finished their poem or whatever. They'd click their fingers like,
That's so, I don't know about you lads, but I
What
just
the
think that
hell?
action, that is the rudest fucking thing. You know, I don't know if you ever attended bar or anything like that, but when I was a barman, someone clicking at you, like, well, you're not
Exactly.
getting fucking served, so you can fuck off, like,
Yeah.
so rude.
Garçon, garçon.
To be fair, the kind of person that goes to spoken word poetry is probably a rude arsehole as well, like. The written word isn't good enough for them. What do you reckon, Owen? Were the boys drugged?
I'd say the same with Bull. The elves left them a drink, but they didn't drink it for a while, and then they had this. Yeah, it was like a clear, honey tasting flower drink. And as soon as they drank it, they were a lot more relaxed, and they were fucking singing away. And that's when you hear the big scream from the Black Rider. So they fucking gave themselves away. They were just singing too loud in the end. They got a bit too relaxed, but
bit silly.
I don't know. Could be just them being egots as well.
Pippin is always the last one caught singing, isn't he? And they're like, shut the fuck up, Pippin.
Do you know what? I was gonna bring this up actually, so that's a nice segue. But thank you very much. We didn't plan that. Is Pippin an actual idiot? Is he an actual spoon?
There's an age gap there for sure. You know, Frodo is 50. Pippin's probably like 30.
True.
And essentially still, what, 18, 19? Like, how much of a clown were we all at 18, 19?
Do you think there's that much of a gap between them?
Something like that, yeah.
Was he'd only be like fucking 5 years old if at Bilbo's party. That can't be
Why
right,
not?
right?
Oh, good shout. Actually, yeah, because that was 17 years ago. That was
Yeah.
17 years ago.
I think they're young enough. They're definitely an age gap of a few years, like. Frodo's definitely like the
Yeah.
mature
Yeah.
one in
I
the
mean-
group. Like, Sam is...
He's also the smart one. Pippin though seems to be, I don't know. He doesn't take anything serious. I mean,
He also doesn't know
I
what's
assume,
going on. Like,
Seen.
he doesn't know this deal.
Oh, now come on.
He knows, actually. Yeah, that's
Come
right.
on. They literally say in the last chapter that, you know, news was spreading from the east that there was, you know, the enemy was back, and even the most dull-witted hobbits had heard rumors of evil shit afoot, and there was strange
You got me,
passersby
you got
going
me.
through the Shire.
All right. I agree.
But
Right.
surely being pursued by a Black Rider is enough to be.
That's
on your
exactly,
guard all the
exactly.
time. I think all three of them were pretty fucking casual about the whole thing. In this chapter, I think anyway.
I don't know.
Just a bit.
The feeling, or at least the note I wrote, I don't know whether it was this chapter or last chapter, they were terrified the whole time. They were always looking behind their backs, looking sideways, looking left. I think the drink.
The elves'
The
fault.
elves' fault, the drink.
Yeah,
They got them drunk.
after the drink, they had a drink and they were singing away, and then they heard the screech and all that kind of stuff, and then they went on for another while, and then they came out of the forest, and it was like they left behind all that stuff, and no one was in pursuit. But sure, every fucking corner they took, your man was head with that. How's lads?
Pippin's the worst though.
Sam would have heard them.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the elves wanted
No.
to get them?
No, I don't think so. Maybe they're just,
Trolling them.
I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know actually what the elves are doing, giving them that kind of juice.
Not thinking of the consequences that they might
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
drunk on elf
there's
meat.
no explain. Like Pippin, he's seen the Black Rider's a supernatural force that can crawl across the ground like Voldemort and Harry Potter. Like he's seen him, and he's still like, oh, do we have to get off the road?
He just wants to go for pints.
Yeah,
and
but there's
Golden
a
Perch.
class beer hall over there. Like Pip, oh, I just feel like clipping him on the back of the ear.
That's the sauce.
Which I suppose is much like Pippin in the movies, would you not say? He's a bit of a clown as well.
Yeah. they're definitely too keen on their old Toby and
Yeah,
their beer.
Setting off that firework at Bilbo's party in the
He
movie.
killed Gandalf.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
He didn't
that
really
too.
die though,
He
did
killed
he?
Gandalf.
Well,
Well, he did. He just came back.
he did his best
He
attempt.
created Gandalf the White.
He should have thrown himself down and spared us all the trouble.
Yeah.
Never mind that, but he also picked up the Palantir in number 3.
Yeah, and seeing fucking all sorts.
True, yeah. And then
Showed.
Sauron
showed
thought
off
he
his
was
position.
the Hobbit with the ring.
Do you know what he wasn't though? He wasn't a thief, and the film made him out to be a thief, but it was fucking Frodo who was the thief.
That's true.
Yeah.
He was stealing cabbages and actually the mushrooms. He wasn't stealing them till they fell down the hill.
He killed that carrot as well. Broke it right in half.
He did.
Killed the carrot.
That's true. That's true. So the boys go through. They cut through Farmer Maggot's farm in this chapter. Now, obviously, in the movies, that's just sort of like a way they're walking.
2 seconds.
And they run into the two boys then, and etc. etc. But Farmer Maggot's a character, though, isn't he? I mean, what did you make of him?
Farmer Maggot, he seems kind of.
Loves his Guinness.
He seems like your typical old farmer. Like, he doesn't take shit off anyone.
This
He
is
even
it, though.
is arguing with the Black Rider at one stage. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
give him
so
a
he
bit
must
of
have
jib.
fair balls, like,
Bit of jib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then he gets mown down by the
Yeah.
horse or something.
Fucking mown down.
He's a violent man, though. Is Farmer Maggot?
Hands out street
What
justice.
was that story Frodo told us? That he got the shite kicked out of him. What the fuck's going on there?
Yeah, apparently so.
He's stealing his crops.
Like 27 years before that, and Frodo's still afraid of him, so it must have been some fucking hiding he got off him.
So he was running around in Farmer Maggot's
Learned his
field
lesson.
eating mushrooms, or stealing mushrooms, or taking mushrooms, or doing something. They don't really give you the ins and outs of it. And the maggot used his dogs to catch him, and the dogs are obviously, in my head, they're Rottweilers, so they're like bigger than Frodo.
Yeah.
They could be little Jack Russells for all we know. Like,
Which would still be up to his belly button.
yeah, true.
Like, you know what
And
I
they're
mean? Like,
fierce.
If you were
they're
getting chased by
vicious.
dogs, you wouldn't be happy no matter.
I'm scared of a Jack Russell,
No.
and I'm fucking, 7 times the size of it.
yeah.
How did he kick the shite out of him? I'd love to know. Did he physically do it? Did he have a stick? Did he fucking get the dogs to just pull at him a bit? What did he do?
He did
I imagine
something.
beating him with a stick.
Is
Better
that how
stick.
is that how Hobbit society works?
Well,
You know?
in the movie he had a scythe, so maybe he was just hitting him to the back end of that yoke or something.
I mean, thems that have keep it through, violence. Is that how
Yeah.
the Shire works? Like,
Well, it did say he was caught several times, and on the last time, then he
caught
gave him
doing
a
what
hiding.
though? Eating mushrooms.
Robbing them.
Yeah, I think it
That's
was.
the man's livelihood.
Yeah, but like, do you think it was wild mushrooms or mushrooms that Maggot was actually growing himself?
Sure, must have been mushrooms he was growing.
Yeah.
Or else Maggot is a proper psychopath.
Yeah, or is he just very protective of people coming onto his land more so than stealing the shit that's on it?
What the fuck are mushrooms anyway? Like,
Are mushrooms worth stealing?
I mean, like,
I myself have a passion for mushrooms.
do you like
Oh,
the
yeah.
the magic ones or just the
Discuss.
normal ones?
Just regular mushrooms.
Would you eat wild ones that you find?
Shop, store bought.
No, I wouldn't chance it. Because they kill you. I've actually heard of a lad who tried that and nearly died of kidney failure.
Jeez.
What?
Where?
And he was old,
Wow.
like he was old enough to have fucking sense. He was about fucking 45.
Well, you just
50.
seen mushrooms on the ground outside and was like, right,
Just
that'll
thought
do.
they were magic mushrooms. I mean, Ireland is meant to be fucking.
Thought they were magic
known for them.
mushrooms?
Yeah, yeah. And they were just poisonous mushrooms that kill
He's
you.
looking for a
Be
hallucinogen.
mushrooms everywhere, like.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for them, but I love an owl mushroom. Closed cap.
Do you remember they used to grow in the estate when we were
Yeah,
younger?
yeah,
Big, huge
oh,
ones. They grow in the middle of the
massive
ground.
Kick them.
Kick the
They'd be
shit
the
out of
size
them.
of a
They grow
football.
everywhere.
And they grow like overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be there, and then
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of a
pop
sudden
up
they'd
overnight.
just be like
I think it's
there, like an umbrella.
the rotted roots of trees and stuff that they're using as fuel.
Yeah.
Love kicking them. Some crack.
Oh yeah.
I
kicking them
hate the feeling of mushrooms, like that texture. Like Maggot should be happy that Frodo's
Squidgy.
taking them off him, like wrapping so
They're
there.
very hated or love it kind of. What would you fungus? It's not even a food, is it? It's a fucking something that
Fungi,
grows between
yeah.
your toes, like.
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
good for you though, is it?
What would
Not
be
the fungus
advice?
between your toes, but mushrooms are, yeah, superfood.
Mushrooms, yeah. Would you eat mushrooms?
Yeah.
What kind? Just the
The regular
button
ones you buy
yolks.
in the shop, yeah.
What are the ones the valley serve on the side, a little side portion if you get a steak in
Yeah,
there?
they're just like they're
not
standard. I think they're just standard button mushrooms or whatever.
Yeah, sliced fried, is it?
Yeah, that type, like, they're not bad if they came with
Yeah.
a fry.
I wouldn't be big into the mushrooms myself. Maybe at a stretch in like some kind of pasta where there's an umpteen amount of sauce and you can't really taste them.
Yeah.
So you don't
Like
like
a
them then?
linguine.
You don't know what you're
If
eating.
you don't want to find them, then you don't like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you can
pretty
eat them
much.
because you don't know that they are, then it's not really liking them, is it?
True. I used to like them, but my girlfriend doesn't, and I never buy them now. So it's just, but it's not something I'd miss. So I guess I don't.
Rachel can smell when I've bought them.
Whoa.
She has a nose like Sam's ears.
Yeah, she's a pig then.
What?
Sniffing truffles.
That's horrendous. That's the mother of his children.
She knows when I've cooked them. She knows when they're in the fridge. She'll like, ugh, they're in the fridge. She'll like double pack them, double wrap them.
She's like Princess and the Pea, but with mushrooms in the house.
Yeah. And the problem with that is that I can't cook them in any meals, so I have to cook them all at once in one go and just eat a whole load of fucking mushrooms in one go.
And that actually seems like a thing a hobbit would do too. They love mushrooms. They just have it on a big side dish, like.
They do love mushrooms. So much so, they will kick the shite out of a young fella for looking for mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if everyone's looking for them and like this happens
Like, why didn't he
regularly,
call the sheriff? Why didn't he call the sheriff? Why
Because
did
there's only 12 of them.
Yeah.
that's not his problem. He's out there minding the bounds.
So he just kicks the absolute snot out of them. My God. I just feel like, this could be... I don't know about you lads. Maybe I'm reading too much about this. Or reading into it too much. I feel like this is kind of like an eye-opener into the wider Hobbit society. Landowners oppressing the proletariat through means of violence, Whoever has the monopoly on violence is the winner in any society. And it's the like of Maggot and the Maggot class.
Maggot's not a snitch though, is he? I mean, he's as much as he'll kick the shit out of kids, he won't rat them out.
Well, I suppose, yeah. Everyone has their good sides and their bad
People are
sides.
grey, they're not black and white, I mean, he's a complicated character, Maggot.
He welcomed Frodo back then and like gave him supper and stuff. So he's not all bad.
Frodo said he missed out on having a good friend, so he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really not that bad. Just don't.
Don't
fuck with
fucking
his shit.
steal me mushrooms.
As your man says in Hardy Bucks, don't fuck with my holes, or I'll fuck with yours. He owns a golf course or
Oh,
something.
yeah. All over mushrooms, huh? Fair play to him.
Can you imagine even though if he didn't have the dogs and he just started shouting, Grip! Fang! Wolf! Sick 'em!" He'd be fucking terrified. One of
you'd
them's
be
gonna grip
gone.
you.
You'd be
Oh,
gone.
absolutely.
Yeah. You wouldn't wait to see what they were.
Did you ever trespass in farmers' land?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cousins, we used to get minded by them during the summer and we'd have some crack down in the fields. We used to go into the hay bales next door underneath the shed and like absolutely health and safety nightmare, and we all could have died, but we didn't have a clue. We used to just climb up 7 bales high and jump off them and root between them.
You'd be in his shed.
Oh yeah, well it's like an open shed, like a covered
Oh,
shed.
you're like a rat.
Oh, some crack. And then we went down the fields and we got chased by horses and cows and like not farmers, horses and cows like.
We used to go trespassing when we were younger, Owen, if you remember, down out the old road. Just, I don't know why we were 10 years old and like, let's go get a chase. And I don't know, there's something about farmers where it's just a well-known thing where they will chase you.
They
I don't know why.
may or may not have guns, but they will chase you.
Do you remember that?
Not
Yeah,
that's for
but I
doing.
think
all
we
fours.
did it a few times, and I think the first time we did it, we used to go over to the train tracks through all the estates and fields and stuff.
Yeah.
And for some reason, we thought it'd be class to bring our hurls, and then when the train goes by, smack stones at the train,
Yeah.
with our hurls and a rock.
We
And
must
just
say
like,
though,
this is
folks,
just class, isn't it?
this is an industrial train.
What else would
It's
you
not
do?
a passenger train. There's nobody on this
it-
train really, apart from the driver. They're driving zinc or coal or whatever the hell the mines are. So we weren't going to break the windows of a passenger train.
Yeah. No,
You'll have
Jesus,
to
no.
explain what a hurley is though.
Oh yeah.
Big shtick.
It's it's a big shtick, and it's one of our national sports. You've probably heard hurling before, and if you haven't, Google it. It's class.
So we went out to throw a load of stones off trains, as you do.
Yeah. And then I think we went back because when we did that, I think I don't know however many times we did it. We went back to keep doing it because it was obviously class.
Obviously.
And then one time we got a chase from a farmer, and then we were like, "Geez, this is better crack than the stones off the train, isn't it?" What's this thing in my body that makes me run faster? Huh?
We were fucking idiots though. Jesus. Do you remember the train used to go under this little bridge? I don't know what was it. It was another train track above that bridge or something. There was something, a disused line of maybe an aqueduct or something above the bridge, and the bridge was only maybe just big enough for the train to get under. You couldn't walk either side of it while the train was passing through, but you could kind of stand up against the wall of the inside of the bridge as the train was going, and it'd just be going right in front of your nose, and you'd nearly go deaf, and we'd be like going, "You do it next, you do it next," and your ears would be ringing for days.
Jesus.
Stand by me the second.
Oh, just absolute idiots. Just absolute idiots. Great crack. Ocean, did you ever go looking for a chase?
The only time I did kind of was the end of 6th year in Rathcarn. So when I was just about to leave school, you know, you get to that stage of the year where everyone just gives up and stops caring about class because you're basically done.
November.
So we were in the field next door to the school in the middle of nowhere, like about maybe 5 or 6 of us just not going back to class because you couldn't be fucked. And
Fucking class, man.
the farmer didn't come out, but the vice principal, and it was kind of like the Terminator, you know, like Principal Skinner in that episode of The Simpsons, just kept walking after us really quickly. Like, I was like, what is this chap up to? Like, and eventually he did catch us.
That's more scary
'cause
than running.
there was nowhere to go. And everybody had to go back to the school.
Oh, right.
Someone walking at you quickly is more scary than someone running at you.
He wouldn't run because he had too much dignity, like, or something. For walking,
I've another quick story as well about getting chases. So I used to have
no bullying on this podcast. We've been through this. Just because you are once the bullied doesn't mean you're allowed to be the bully. There's no currency or anything exchanged.
It's
here.
a zero-sum game.
no exchange rate.
He's got 2 credits.
Oh, and please work away.
I used to have this friend that lived down in Simonstown Lane, but he used to live quite close to the golf course, and we used to basically go into this woman's field. It was close enough to his house. Now, the thing about he lived down a lane, and everyone had like their house and then a massive bit of land out the back. Some people had massive farms and stuff. So we went through this old woman's land anyway, and what we did was collect all the golf balls that were in the ditches from the golf course, and we made an absolute killing because Sports Den in Navan, they used to buy back second-hand golf balls for 50 cents.
Nice. Thrifty.
And we used to collect like 400 a day. We'd have 2 massive bags on our backs. But this old woman used to like walk around the field, and it was like she was like a scarecrow that could move.
A wee banshee.
You know, but the scary thing was, right, she would basically be the lookout, and then she had her son who was young enough. So she'd walk around the fields, right, and if she'd spot us, she'd go, "John!"
Holy
and then
shit.
he'd come pelting after us. So she was like the lookout, and then he was the fucking.
And what would he do?
No, he didn't. He never caught us because we were quick, but he batted the shite out of us if he got us. Definitely. We were trespassing on his land.
Do you know what you should have done? You should have pulled down your pants.
Moon them.
That'll show them. It'll petrify them. Just run away with your arse out.
So she's squealing like a black rider.
Yeah, what do you think of the Black Riders? Like, they're scary, aren't they?
I think Jackson got the noise right anyway, as described in the book. Like, it's a real high pitch, like an animal's scream. They don't know whether it's a fucking beast or a bird. But did you notice Frodo could spot words in it? I was wondering, like, did the ring allow him to do that?
Yep. What do you think? Is it like he's been poisoned, or do you think he's just the smartest hobbit? As we know, he already is, right?
I thought it was just because he was smart and he understood some Elvish, and that there was some sort of connection between the languages where they shared words or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he said he didn't hear what words. He just said there were some words in there.
Yeah, but nobody else got it. They all thought it was an animal.
True, yeah.
Could have been a fox.
Could have been a fox riding. Who
Well,
knows?
Luna Fox.
Well, foxes can talk, as we know.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so why would they scream? Just be like, Fenton!
But what's the crack with the Black Riders? Like, they don't seem particularly violent. I mean, there's obviously a threat of violence.
I have a theory. I think that they don't want to cause a scene yet because I don't know if they trust the info they have completely. Like, they're just going on Gollum's word that this is where it is, but they don't want to cause a huge fuss and everyone to know that they're kicking doors down looking for it
Yeah,
on the
I don't even
hunch
think it's
of
like
a creature like Gollum.
they don't want to. I think they wouldn't give a shite if they killed everybody they met. I think it's like they won't get the info if they're known for killing everybody who doesn't give them the answer. You know what I mean? If you heard, like, they're known for being queer characters in the Shire, queer, but they're not known for murderers. Like, if you killed someone because they didn't, like, you wouldn't know that they had the conversation. Oh, somebody's looking for the Bagginses, and these weird guys are looking for them. But if they killed them, they would just be like, "There's murderers, fucking hide," and nobody even talked
Murders
to them.
about.
Okay, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Owen, would you go along with that?
yeah, I'd agree. As well as that, I think if they were, fucking going around, beating people up for fucking answers or killing people, the Dunedain and the Elves wouldn't be far off getting word of it and going over and fucking them up and stopping their pursuit of whoever has the ring.
Yep, talk about the most fucking useless bunch of pricks ever, the Dunedain, huh? The fucking Nazgul are running around your land, boys.
Yeah.
The fucking Nazgul. How could it be worse?
Squealing at night too. Like, it's
How
not as
could
if they're
it be
being
worse?
quiet about
Unless
it.
there was a Balrog in fucking, I don't know, Buckleberry or something. Like, how could it be worse? What is worse
Is it
than
all
them?
happening like super quick, or is the Shire
17
always
years,
being-
Bull. 17
No, but-
years.
The Nazgul aren't looking for 17 years. They literally only know, right? They've only just got to the Shire just before.
Yeah. True.
But
Frodo
it doesn't
left.
really give a timeline for when Frodo left and where he is at this moment.
It's only a few days,
in front
isn't
of Farmer Maggot. It could be. They
Not even a day or two.
well, they
2
slip-
days.
Then what are the Dunedain looking out for if it's not the Nazgul?
Yeah, especially around their home turf as well.
It's like strolling around. Strolling around singing songs to themselves. They
Yeah.
live on a different level.
a day before, they were like Sam and Frodo and Pippin were all chatting to the elves, and surely the elves told someone, "Look, there's Black Riders pursuing Frodo and the lads, and we know what they have. Just can you let someone know?" But it doesn't seem to be,
Well, I think Ross told us last episode that they did let them know. Did they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I suppose word travels slowly. It's only this is, I suppose, literally the second day after they found out. But still,
The
I
elves
just
don't give a shite either. Like, the elves don't want to help them. The elves have done this for 3,000 years. They are so sick of this shit. Like, they just want no hassle. They don't even want to hassle the
But
hobbits.
what elves?
a lot of elves, maybe not all, but yeah, a lot of them are kind of useless and they're browning off anyway. They're abandoning Middle Earth, which I assume means they think yes, everyone can have it. I'm guessing. But I don't.
What do you think,
I
Ross?
know what you're saying there obviously makes a lot of sense. About they don't want to make a scene, especially what Bull said. I think is quite clever about if they're known for killing people, then the hobbits will just make themselves not seen. Because we know they can do that. But they just, I don't know, they just seem to take a lot of jib. Like first the Gaffer, then Maggot, just giving the boys a bit of lip, like well, what-
Gaffer got off lucky, I think.
Yeah.
Because he lived close to other people. I think Maggot was definitely going to be trodden on. Like, he was going
Maggot
to
got
be
trodden on, I thought, by the horse.
Oh, he just got out of the way in time, I think. And
Yeah,
then he
he
sicked the
just-
dogs on him, but it was too late.
Yeah, well, that was just him.
Was that maybe Maggot just talking himself up big? Like, yeah, my dogs can take down a horse. Like, how big are your
I
dogs?
beat
yeah.
your kids, I'll beat you.
Yeah, I don't know. The hobbits would be giving them just a little bit of jib, like.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, we don't see any violence from them. We see a bit of a hiss, and he also says to Farmer Maggot, "If you tell me the information I want, I'll give you gold." Like, they're bartering
Yeah,
more
yeah.
so than
He's not a
threatening
snitch.
people.
He's not a snitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a pint man. And pint man don't snitch.
A lot of
Fucking
stout
loves a
in this
stout.
episode,
Lot of
isn't there?
He's a stout man. He's got stout ponies. Something else is stout in there. What else he got? He's red face. I mean, he loves the pot. There's a stout gate at the farm. You know, it's
Stout just
All
means
made of
bacon,
stout.
I guess, does it?
it's foreshadowing for a bit of St James's Gate, maybe.
Tolkien was drinking it at the time, clearly.
Clearly.
Oh, clearly. There's
Wait, is there actually any mention of stout the drink in this chapter, or are you just talking about like the characteristics of things that he explains?
Oh, what did you? I read he's a stout man. He's a stout.
Yeah, but you say stout. I thought
stout
you
fella.
What
mean
did you mean?
what you're
drinking
drinking
Guinness
now.
every second.
A Guinness stout.
The ponies are drinking stout. I mean, what did you not get? That's what I got.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah, there's a stout gate. It's literally made out of tins of Guinness.
Yeah.
Welded together. Any hot takes, lads, on the episode? Any hot takes on the chapter? Anything that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I've won, but I've no idea what it means.
Right, go on, you bad thing.
So,
He's
they
a bad man.
explicitly said 14 sat down to eat. I'm stretching here like a motherfucker, but in Harry Potter, when 13 people sit down to eat, the 13th person to stand up gets got quite soon after, or something along them lines. So,
What?
do you remember that? Like Professor Trelawney says that when 13 people sit down at a table to eat, the first person to get up is going to die. The 13th person, like, you know.
Okay.
I don't know. So I used that train of thought. That he said 14 people sat down to eat. Did that have some relevance? Does that mean something when 14 people sit down to eat? Does something specific happen? Fellowship's 12, like, isn't it? 9.
Baker's dozen. Yeah,
I don't know, like,
Baker's
I'm-
dozen.
Fellowship is 9.
Yeah, I know. So 9. You always say, "Oh." What do you say when someone makes a very obvious mistake like that on the podcast? Like,
Oh, casual.
Filthy
Oh,
casual.
filthy
That was what I
casual.
was trying to
Casual.
think of. I didn't get it. Anyway,
Not a dirty comment.
I don't know where.
That's good though. I'm using that.
Whoa, Oisin. Let's not get political here.
No, but I just didn't know if when 14 sat down to eat, is that a specific thing in
Well, J.K. Rowling said
Some sort of faux
Set that up.
foreshadowing.
Yeah, it was a foreshadowing something. I've no idea what it could be
Yeah,
foreshadowing.
Oisin, I think you're right. It's foreshadowing the 14, lads. Okay, a fortnight. Yes. 4 nights. 4 minus 5 is 9
Minus
Nazguls. I don't know, I'm just trying to make that terrible hot take make sense. Come on.
I told you the hot take was terrible. I just thought when he said 14 sat down, that's what I thought.
he just runs a farm, Oisin. There's just a lot of farm hands, a lot of people about.
Lot
You
of
know,
children.
he's got fucking 5 kids, and then he's got a lot of people helping out.
Oh, wait, hold
Jesus.
on, Oisin. 3 hobbits. So we hadn't met Merry yet, no? So
No.
there's 3 minus Maggot. So there's 10 farmhands minus the wife. 9 farmhands. 9 Nazguls. Farmer Maggot. is
Oh, I
Sauron.
think like 5 of them are kids.
Yeah.
5 of them are
Farmer
daughters.
Maggot
something like
is
that.
Sauron.
Actually, that'll go into my hot take, and it's not.
You have a hot take as
Farmer
well.
Maggot,
How did you
Go
get a hot
on,
take in
go
this
on.
one?
But to me, again, hot takes are meant to be fucking bullshit. But Farmer Maggot was meant to betray Frodo the whole time,
Oh, now we're talking.
Betray
He
him.
took the gold.
betray him.
He took
He
the
took
gold.
the gold. I think so. Yeah.
Why? Tell me more.
Right. So, look, for someone who, at some stage in his life, went battering kids for being on his land stealing mushrooms, to being the nicest lad you've ever met. First of all, was my first suspicion. Now, I was looking for a hot take in this chapter, so bear in mind this is going
No,
to be
Owen, you don't need to qualify this. I'm with you. I'm sold already.
So basically, yeah. So they show up and he's very, very nice. But throughout, as soon as we meet him, he urges Frodo so many times to stick around. Like, no, don't go anywhere. He was like, oh, you came from Bag End, but you should be in what area are they in now?
Buckleberry.
Yeah, Buckland, wherever they're
Buckland,
on.
yeah.
So I think 2 or 3 times, and there was a whole page dedicated to basically him trying to convince Frodo to stick around for a while. And then he made a deal, but I think he made a deal with the Black Rider, but he convinces them to then stay for dinner, which again they didn't have to do, and he didn't have to do. But what I think basically he was meant to bring Frodo to the Black Rider, because he knew that there was a queer person dicking about, and he knew what he was like. He was afraid of him, but yet he was okay going at night to bring the 3 lads down a couple of miles down the road to the ferry. So So I think he was actually planning to drop Frodo off in the Black Rider's lap.
To get got.
And yeah, to get got, yeah. And Merry basically was the one that kind of saved the day. He was like, oh shit. Because, you know, you hear him, when he gives him a lift down, you hear the clip-clops of horses' feet, and you're basically thinking it's a Black Rider, and it turns out to be Merry then. But because Maggot is kind of friendly with Merry and not the rest of them.
Merry's from a big family, isn't he? He's from a big landed kind of. They're the most important
that
family.
Hall one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like when Maggot first met the other three, he was like, "Oh, how are you?" Like he kind of took a while to recognize them. Yeah,
he knew Pippin though, no?
Yeah, he knew Pippin. He didn't really know the other two. He knew Pippin, but he wasn't. You know, they say he was good friends with Merry more so, and that's how Pippin knew him. So it wasn't like Pippin was mates with.
And where in your hot take does he get like sold out to the Black Rider? Like the Black Rider wouldn't give a shite that Merry was around.
Well, why couldn't he have lied to him?
Oh, no, I'm a witch 100%. We only have it from Maggot's mouth that he didn't take the gold. He relayed to us as like, and he offered me gold, and I said no.
Yeah, and that you stood up to him.
Oh, but listen, this is a fellow who beats up children for money, you know.
Exactly. But like as soon I know I'm jumping on a bit to the next.
No, Owen, I have you. You're 100% right. Yeah, you have me sold. Maggot is Sauron.
He has a motive. He's never recovered those mushrooms.
At the end of the chapter, Maggot also says, "But all's well that ends well, though perhaps we should not say that until we reach our own doors." I'm like, Jesus, that's a bit, a bit fierce to say.
I think you're talking through your arse, Owen.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not home yet, lads. No, that's what Maggot's in. You're not home yet, lads.
That's it.
He didn't sell him out.
Watch your
You're
back.
getting it all.
Yeah,
No, but it's a hot take.
It's a hot take, first of all.
It's a hot take. It's
obviously
probably
meant to be stupid.
I think maybe the best hot take we've had so far. I think. Well, it's definitely up there with Sam as a dog.
Sam is a dog. Sam has listened and saved their arses at least twice now with his good ears. He's spotted the Black Rider like twice now before they got caught. And we know that he lies down at their feet of Frodo when he goes to sleep. And when Merry was coming up the road and he didn't know it wasn't a Black Rider, he had hopped out right beside fucking Maggot and he had the arms up. Come on, me Longshanks! I love you.
I love you.
I love you, Longshanks.
Like,
well,
why
I said
is
that
Sam so willing to die for Frodo with no pay, no reason other than Gandalf asked him to? I mean, he's seen elves. He's ticked his box of what he wants to do. Why is he still willing to die for Frodo?
I think he'd rather be died. I think he'd rather be killed than turned into something unnatural.
Don't turn me into
I think he's still got the old Gandalf fear on him. But no,
that's a hot take because that's a good hot take.
I think that that Maggot being a seller is as good a hot take as Sam is a dog.
Oh no, because there's no way to disprove it.
Like, other than the Black Riders didn't catch him.
Yeah, but just by chance, like how
do we
know?
Did
he know?
I'm
There's
looking
no
forward
clocks or anything. There's no time to.
Sorry, Oisin. I'm just looking forward to continuing the story and getting back to the Shire in book 3 to see is Maggot still alive.
Yeah. What's his deal?
I can't remember.
Is he rich?
He's trampled into the ground.
Could have died.
Well, maybe that's why he knew he wouldn't make it to his own door because the Black Riders would be like, "Where is he, man? You promised us this." It's like a Mexican cartel, Once they ask something of you.
I was more thinking like that. It'd be very hard to organise like a specific time to meet them. Like he brought them down to the river. Maybe the Black Rider was supposed to meet them on the way, but they just missed each other by a few minutes.
You would have made him stay longer.
He tried. Owen said that he tried for a whole page to make him stay.
He said, "We'll offer you supper," and he's like, "No, we got to go." And he's like, "What I was going to say is, I'll give you a lift after supper. I just want to feed you."
For the sake of a hot take.
So was he expecting the Black Rider to come back?
That's my thing. Like Farmer Maggot knew there's a Black Rider out there that was very dangerous, and he was putting his life, his own life at risk just to bring 3 random lads down.
Because he's a sound man.
Is he though?
Is he though?
Is the hot part.
Is he though?
He's a sound man with a bag of gold.
Good hot take now.
He's too full of Guinness to be making any good decisions. That's why he's out in the dark. He's full of stout. He's brave as fuck.
And other than Sam still being a dog, Paul, did you have any other hot takes?
I didn't have any hot takes other than, but I did have this kind of like maybe a bit of a new flair to an episode. I have a quiz for you. Pop quiz.
Quiz. This is a delight.
Right. First question is How many mentions of the word queer or a derivative is mentioned in the entire Fellowship of the Ring book?
Oh, jeez, I don't know. 100?
Yeah.
That's a lot. Oh no, more than that, I'd say.
Wait. I have this image of Bull up at night counting the word queer. You know, it's like,
I actually Googled it, but I couldn't get it.
1 queer, 2 queer, 3 queer, 4.
I have the PDF, so it was easy.
You just control F and see how many people.
Yeah. The person who doesn't get the closest has to down their next beer. Drink responsibly.
Okay, right. We might, and once again, I'd like to, make sure everybody listening in understands that we really are for responsible drinking, and particularly if you want to drink responsibly, you should,
Okay, right. So Ross, what's your answer for the question one?
For the book.
How many closest to it doesn't have to down their drink?
Well, I'll say 250.
In the Fellowship.
Now you're making me think. No.
The Fellowship of the
No,
book.
no. I go down. No, if it's just a fellowship. Sorry, but
Don't be giving him hints around.
125.
All right, Owen.
I'd say 70.
Oisin. It's kind of like Bruce's Price is Right.
I'd go 100 straight down the middle.
It's tough.
100.
No,
All
straight
right,
down.
Ross.
What is it?
You are downing your next drink.
No! Why? What is it? What is it?
There's 43 mentions of the word queer in the Fellowship.
Yeah.
You would think there's a lot
Way
more.
off. There,
With the
it
rate.
stands
See
out
at
on
the
the
start,
page.
yeah, when
It
you
jumps
show
out.
The rate of the
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Because
So,
once the shit starts happening,
how many mentions of the word queer by the end of chapter 4 do you think there is?
7.
Really? You think? I think you've
hey, don't stop, Bull.
14.
You're just
No, I'm already
looking
taking
for a
7.
better
I'm taking 7. All right,
Fucking hell.
I'm taking
Do you
7.
think so? It might be a bit lower than that. Divide by 2 and add 3. Fucking hell.
Sure, you want that one?
I
What's
would
this one?
say 13.
13. Okay.
By the end of chapter 4, I go 16.
Ross, you're down in 2 drinks.
Oh no! What is it? What is it?
So there is 19 mentions by the end of this chapter.
Holy
So there's
moly.
only 24 left for the rest of the book.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well,
You're gonna look out for them and bring them
this
up.
is a great game.
We should do that in each chapter. There's something I noticed. I forget, but anytime is it like Sam and the lads speak, they always end with like "so to say" or that little like 3 words.
I think I so to say. This is nothing to do with gay people. By the way, this is just a word that is funny, being something that's strange and curious.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with the LGBT community. And
Yeah.
if the
Well, I
LGBT
suppose
community
if it
wants
is-
to take it lighthearted and play along, that's the aim I'm going for,
Also, reach out to us if we are being offensive, which I'm sure we are. So, but is it LGBTQ? So is queer up there already? Is it though? You know what I mean? Maybe we're not taking it back. Maybe we're not allowed to take it back. Just like you're not allowed to take back Iceland. People live there.
What?
I don't know. So lads, I
We
think
won't
that's a
take
good-
it back. It's just
that's
it's a
good
word
note.
that's being used in the book, so
Yeah. Let's
I have to read it.
So I think that on that really salient point is probably as good a place as any, is it, lads? Unless we've anything else to go for on the episode.
Do you have anything, Ross?
No, I just want to say, make sure you do check us out on the social media channels. Check us out on Instagram. What's our Instagram handle there, Owen?
It's just Drunk Talk Podcast. If you type that in, you'll find it. And also Twitter is just @DrunkTalk.
Yep.
So drunk and then TOLK.
Stick it into the Google machine. You'll probably find the Patreon as well if you're so inclined. And yeah, we love feedback. Let us know if we're being offensive, which okay, right, within reason, of course we're being offensive, but we don't mean to be. We're all willing to learn. Oisin, you're particularly willing to learn. You're a student.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Share that knowledge.
I'm going to get a beer for the last question.
So lads, obviously in the movie, wait, Bull's gonna get a beer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I need to get a beer as well.
I get a beer as well, actually. Yeah, it's great. So lads, before we go, obviously one of the greatest scenes in the early part of the Fellowship movie is the boys in Farmer Maggot's crop you know, and Pippin and Merry are stealing, and they got the carrots, and it's all funny, and etc. etc. It's got me thinking: have any of ye ever gone stealing? Ever stolen anything? Oisin, I'll go straight to you. Have you ever stolen anything?
And if you're counting BitTorrent and uTorrent as a downloader thing, then
The FBI are listening to this.
But isn't that the whole thing where modern music is way better now because everyone has to like go to see live shows.
Yeah.
Or everyone has to have a live show because you can't make money off your album release.
maybe I did it. Maybe I was part of a new wave revolution. I didn't even realize.
We also grew up in the wild, wild west of the internet. It'll never be as wild as it was. Like, people don't understand. There was no rules.
Apparently, if you do that now, like, you get a letter in the post or something
Yeah.
telling you to stop. I've no idea. Maybe the
I've
parents
heard
got
it's
that.
like urban legend. Yeah, your internet supplier will write you a letter to say stop.
Or I'll say stop
What
again.
do? Yeah. It's like Ford not selling you a car because you speed. Like, they're not going to say no to money. Like, Ford don't care.
Yeah.
That's the police's problem. Yeah,
Exactly.
pure nonsense. But yeah, I've heard rumours of don't be at it. But now it's just so much easier to stream where you don't actually have to download anything. Do you?
Subscription service
It
for everything.
swings and roundabouts though. Like, I mean, when you can afford the thing, you pay for it, I feel. No? I mean, I took a great thing from Ross through the years that, you know, if you like the media that you're getting, support it. Go to the cinema, buy the DVD.
Yeah.
You know, if you really like something, because if you want that thing to be made again, you have to pay for it.
This is it. I've just recently invested in a streaming pass for League of Ireland Soccer just to support the Irish soccer. I might not watch a lot of it. It's 60 quid for the year though. But that's it, yeah, you got to support what you want to see more of. What about you, Owen? You are little fucking sticky hands growing up. We've already heard about your exploits and Willie Fagan's.
Dan, I'll go back to Willie Fagan's because this is where
He's
it
going to
happened.
sponsor us, you know that? So, like,
This is where it started. Well, I'll say this is where it started and ended, but that'd be a lie. But I remember one day I was in Willie Fagan's. Now I used to be a very good student. It was between
Bullshit.
Yeah, it was after,
lies.
it was
Lies upon lies.
no,
What
it
does
was
good
after
student mean in your head? You went to school.
Showed up.
No,
Put in
in
the hours.
primary school now, because remember Willie Fagan's was up beside St Oliver's.
Yeah.
Now, so after school in St Oliver's, like up to like third or fourth class, I was just a model student, and then it just went downhill from there. Honest to God,
what
honest
does
to
a
God,
model
police.
student look like when they're 10? What does that look like?
They actually, I'll tell you what a model student.
Keeps
Well,
putting his hand up, but gets all
so-
the questions wrong.
our teacher used to buy one of them big glass jars full of sweets. You know, the sucky sweets.
Oh, the
You
pearl
see them in
drops.
loads of places.
Was it?
Apple drops
I don't know
or
what.
something.
I don't know what they're called. They're like loads of different flavors, and they were fucking delicious, especially as a little kid.
Bribery.
And he used to do Scolarna Shochtana.
Ah.
Shochtana.
So it was the student of the week.
It's student of the week, yeah. And I was fucking. I'd say twice a month I get it.
Top boy.
Swear to God.
Who's your
Where did
competition?
it all go wrong on? Where did
and
it all
then
go
and
wrong?
then in fourth class.
You're what, 10 years old in fourth class?
Yeah,
You
like 10
discovered
years
the
old.
drink, was it? You had a family wedding.
On the naggins.
That wine.
A few new guys moved into the class. They were a very bad influence on everyone. The class just went downhill after they only like 2 or 3 lads.
You
but it
all
was
wanted to be
absolute
cool. It's that age,
snowball
isn't it?
effect. Yeah, and they were from Dublin too, so they
Was
were
it
kind
like
of
a
like
cone of ignorance around them, like in
Yeah.
Simpsons?
Don't
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
I remember them lads. Terrified of them, I was.
trendsetters in a bad way. An
Class
awful
at
way.
soccer. You know, something about
Yeah.
being a fucking devil and being class at football.
Oh yeah, that's because they were only playing football and nothing else.
Focused on more important
Yeah, but
things.
soccer though, not GA. Boys who are good at GA went to mass. The boys who are good at soccer, they were smoking cigarettes in the back of the playground.
Yeah. Do you remember one of those lads in your class was like never showed up for the communion preparation, and like we all went up to get
He
communion,
just
stuck the
winged
tongues
it.
out, and like he
Yeah.
went up and he's like, "What the fuck's going on? Oh, what do you have there?" And he just plucked it out of the priest's hand. Yeah, what?
Give me
He
that.
didn't even eat it. He was just like, "Oh, I put that in the old pocket."
Well, I remember a friend of mine. You know the way you do your first confession, but it's not in the confession box for any non-Catholics. Listen, we have a tradition where you grow up and you tell the priest your secrets, and that's not right for abuse. But so they tell you to do this the first time you do it. You're what, like 7 or something like that, you know? And so a friend of mine, and he had a mad lad in his class because we all went to Catholic schools where you have to learn how to do this in school, and you do like a rehearsal confession with the priest where you tell him your secrets, but it's not the real thing where you tell him more secrets. And your man elbowed my mate in the ribs and goes, "Here, watch this, I'm going to tell the priest I killed a fella." And he walked up in front of everyone. The priest, the colour drained from the priest's face. He's like, where do I get a handling on this fella? Jesus. So, Owen, long story short, you were a thief.
Right, I was a thief, right? And it was because of these lads that came in, because they taught me how to thieve. And when I first started, it was small things like little Frodo bars and stuff like that were like 10p at the time.
You slip up your jumper sleeve.
A BMW was next, was it?
Yeah. No, not quite. No, that was years after.
It's harder to get a cool pop in your fucking sleeve, isn't it? Than a
It's
Frodo.
fucking not.
What about a Calippo?
Yeah, the Clippos are good ones. No, but I started getting too fucking cocky, and one day I stole a can of Sidona, right?
Lovely.
And I remember I had it in my bag, and I turned around, and you're one in the shop. Now I knew her because I lived there when I was a kid, and she knew me. She was just staring at me. I'm like, oh my god, am I caught? And I swear to God, to this day, no one has scared me as much looking at me as she did. She scared me straight. Oh my God, she scared me straight. She didn't say a word to me. She just looked at me, and I couldn't take my eyes off her eyes. It was just so frightening. I was just like a deer in the headlights.
Is this like an old woman, a young one?
No. I'd say she was maybe 40. But she's just staring at me. Like it was just such like anger and disappointment. And
I know
I'm
that
gonna
woman
bat at
you're
the head of
talking
you.
about. I used to live across the way in another state away from Owen Duffy, and you'd go into this Willie Fagan's, you know. This was the days when your mother would give you a note and you go in and buy 20 Benson and Hedges.
Yeah.
20 John Player Blues. These
Get
are
the
cigarettes, by
cigarettes
the
for
way.
your mum and bring back the change.
Yeah. And then like the day when they said, no, we can't take the note anymore. And like you were just like, what? We've been doing this for years, Jackie. Come on, what the fuck?
But my mum wants cigarettes, Jackie, and she's not going to walk herself to the shop. What are we to do? PC gone mad.
That woman... PC gone mad.
It's funny you say that, because my brother did the same thing, my eldest brother, and Mom used to send him up with notes, and then it got to a stage where we didn't even need notes because we knew Willie and Willie knew Mom.
Oh, you had it on tap.
You knew Willie and you still robbed from him. You fucking bastard.
I know.
Worst type.
We need to give Willie
I'm so
Fagan's
sorry.
shop, free sponsorship. It's a great shop. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally my memories.
Is
of
it
being
still
a
Willie
child.
Fagan's?
Yeah, buying
I hope so.
cool pops and fucking 10-penny bag sweets.
Oh, we must get Deggy on to talk about how he was nearly abducted from Willie Fagan's. That's a great story.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I won't
I nearly spit
bastardize
out my
it. We'll get Deggy on again. Yeah, he was nearly abducted there. He was. Yeah.
Jesus.
Someone tried
For
to-
someone,
I won't get into it, but yeah, ice cream was involved and a white van and a fella with a mustache and like, he was in danger. He was in danger. Yeah, absolutely.
for someone who nearly got abducted outside Willie Fagan's, he spends a lot of time up there because he is always in zucchinis.
Yeah.
That's right next door.
I think he's looking on the edge to see, did he miss a trick? You know, he wants to see, your man's still around. What about you, Bull? Were you a thief?
Do you know when you can pick penny, what's it? All sorts sweets. You get the bag, and you
Pick
can
and
weigh
mix.
it. Pick and mix sweets, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like 7 or 8. I don't know. I was young anyway. And so I was like, right, next time I'm going shopping, I'm going to steal a sweet. And so I picked up the
Stealing
sweet.
sweet sense?
And I was so fucking obvious. Like, to anybody, you could have seen me a mile away. It took about 20 minutes to do it because it's like, I might steal that sweet. And then I just stood around looking at it for about 15 minutes. And then I walked up to it. And then I just hung around it, looking around. And then I dropped my hand in for about 12 minutes. And I picked up one.
Fingering all the sweets.
And then put it in the pocket. And then I got away with it. Like, no one stopped me in the shop. But
It was
me
in
being
your
a
belly.
fucking idiot, took it out in the car on the way home. And they're like, where the fuck did you get that sweet? And I was like, because I clearly didn't fucking pay for it. I had no money of my own to buy it. And got an absolute fucking hiding off me, man. Not physically, but just, oh Jesus, it scared me straight
Farmer
too.
Maggot hiding.
We accidentally have stolen a few beers a few times by accident. A few times. They like you can get one can in a 4-pack and swipe it through, and it comes up as one can, and somehow the weight doesn't not notice that there's 3 extra cans there. And I mean, I'm not going to say anything if you don't fucking say anything.
Yeah, if the machine says it's the thing,
The machine says it's paid for.
Yeah. If you don't beep on the way out, you haven't
I thought
stolen
I was
anything.
getting a deal. Honestly, the first 3 times I thought it was, it wasn't stealing, but the next 7 times it definitely was.
If the man in the big gorgeous Lithuanian security guard doesn't chase you out the door, then it's not stolen. I think is the rule for most. I think usually.
Ross, have you ever stolen anything?
I've been stealing 11 the last 15 years. You know what? No, I was a good child. Apart from all the times I stole many things. It was, not even that long ago, whether it be stealing a ride home off a taxi and making a leg of.
No, you didn't.
Stealing pint glasses from pubs. Stealing jackets from nightclubs.
I've seen you steal money out of, I won't say the name because it will get you in a huge amount of trouble.
This is actually one of my favourite stories.
A fella that wouldn't like you stealing something out of his back pocket.
Yeah.
And then he bought a drink with this money and then put the change back in his pocket.
I was
So that's
a bit of a pickpocket, alright, yeah. Yeah.
And Jesus,
Putting the change back, like.
I don't care what you did. It was funny that you did that, but who you did it to is the most brave thing I've seen in my life.
He was drunk. What can you do?
Does courage at its finest.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a bit of a like a Dickens character as a young man, I think. I'm no stranger to maybe bending.
The artful Rosser.
Bending the law a wee bit, If you get a shot out of it, is it really illegal, The taxi man was going that way anyway.
Tell him about the story. I always butcher it, but the fella who couldn't afford a taxi and a pizza, but he could afford.
Oh yes, Philly. Philly was a smart man. Really, one of my heroes. He was living in Dundalk at the time, and he had €10, which was enough for a taxi to where he lived, or it was enough for a pizza from Mazzoni's. And so what he was in town. So what he did was he ordered a delivery. He stood outside Mazzoni's and ordered a delivery to, and then waited for the man to walk out and said, "You're not going to, are you? Can I have a lift? Can I?"
That is fucking brilliant.
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard someone do.
It's a level we can only aspire to.
Yeah,
that is a level we can aspire to.
Needs must.
The location has to work out. You can't be walking for 5 miles.
He could have said no as well.
Yeah.
You could have said you're not getting in.
You would have got neither then, or you would have got cold pizza.
I think what's the word for it? Thrift. Like the
Thrifty,
TH, like the foreigners say when they say not thrift, thrift.
Thrift.
He's been thrifty.
There's no crack in having enough money for both, is there? There's money. There's crack in being poor.
That's it. Necessity is the mother of crack. If I could have afforded my own drinks, I wouldn't have been a pickpocket. Well, listen, when you're in the nightclub illegally anyway, everything else is fair game. It's not like
it's
I was
not your
21.
fault because
I was 16.
illegally
what do you do? Let me in now.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Call the cops on a 16-year-old? They get drunk in the back. Like.
And that was the thing. We were 16 and 17 in them nightclubs as well.
100%. In fairness,
However,
I had grey hair. I looked old as shit. It wasn't a hard sell. I remember I got in on my brother's 18th birthday, my older brother. It was his 18th, and I got into the pub and he didn't. I was 2 years younger than him. 2 years younger than him.
But it was.
I also waved out the window at him.
Huh?
I was hanging out the window upstairs. Oh.
Yeah, that was in what was that? Taboo. Yeah,
Great spot.
Jeez, that place.
Lads, we've covered the episode well, I think. There can't be too much more. Can there be? I don't think so.
No, I think that's it.
Yeah,
far too much, son. There was an awful lot of shy talk there at the end.
A good bit of shite talk there. Yes, that's everything from me. I'll say before we go, make sure you have a look at our Patreon. Make sure you have a look at our social media channels. Owen, what's the Twitter handle?
At Drunk Talk Podcast.
Tolk, T-O-L-K. And the Instagram is something similar, isn't it?
Yeah. You can just search Drunk Talk and you'll find us.
Very, very, very good. And for anyone out there who's interested in sponsoring us, We love beers. We talk about them all the time. Here I am selling a Peroni Italian. Okay, beer and Moretti didn't go down too well with some of the lads, but we'll pretend we like it if you pay for it. And we like to keep it local. If Willie Fagans wants to get in touch for a bit of sponsorship, work away.
Will suck the shite out of a few Cool Pops if you want to sponsor something.
I didn't know where that was going.
Right, I am Ross, and lads, say good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Right, we'll see you next week. Go on, bye.